This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, that was fun. I hope you had a good time, Democrats. You had 48 hours to celebrate, to revel in some staffer's gaffe, a major blunder, I admit. Yes, somebody out there invited Jeffrey Goldberg, perhaps the leading, most prominent Trump hater in D.C., onto the Signal chat with the defense team. It was a mistake. It was a stupid move. It will never happen again. Somebody should be fired. I don't think it's a member of the cabinet. I don't think it's Mike Walls. I don't think it's anybody we've ever heard of. I think somebody screwed up and somehow put Jeffrey Goldberg on that chat. Maybe it was an honest, innocent mistake. Maybe it was a nefarious actor, underling, who wants to undermine Trump's efforts here. We will find out. Elon Musk and DOGE is on the case, so I assume they know already who did it, and I hope we will find out from the most transparent administration ever. I hope they will tell us soon, and we will be done with this. At least I will be done with this. Democrats, not so much. They are going to cling to this as long as possible because the hits keep coming. This morning, if you woke up and put on Newsmax or put on Fox News, you saw a pretty big story that they've ignored on CNN and MSNBC because they're busy telling you that this is the worst security breach in American history. They're busy ignoring all the deadly mistakes the Biden administration committed. It is amazing to listen to anybody say this is like historically, disastrously bad, that they somehow included a slimy, sleazy, Trump-hating journalist on a group chat that had no effect on the operation. The operation was a success. Nobody was hurt except Houthis. Nobody died except terrorists. It worked. It opened up the shipping lanes. But that doesn't really matter. They're upset because, or they're not upset, they're feigning outrage because Goldberg got to see the chat, which was, for the most part, very professional and impressive. But they're going to hang on to this, demand Pete Hegseth's resignation while Trump and his team is arresting terrorists, actual terrorists. This is just breaking this morning. U.S. authorities arrested an illegal immigrant and top MS-13 leader for the East Coast and one of the top 3 in the entire country in a major Trump-backed operation in Virginia that nabbed more than 340 criminals in the past month, Pam Bondi announced this morning. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel were on the scene with Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin to announce that they nabbed this MS-13 monster in his home in Northern Virginia. Now the question is, will they be allowed to send him home? He's from El Salvador, so they can send him back home. And the judges, the DC Trump-hating judges like Boasberg and others, will be working hard today to figure out a way to save this poor fellow from being sent to an El Salvador prison. I don't think they'll be successful because, again, that's where he's from. So we will see. But it was pretty amazing. They were doing a press conference while it was still dark out. Patel and Bondi were on the scene, and Youngkin pointed out that everything changed since Trump took office. He said the Biden administration wouldn't even give them the names of these fellas from MS-13 who were thriving and operating in Northern Virginia just outside the nation's capital. Murderers, killers, drug dealers were roaming free, and the Biden administration would not help the authorities in Northern Virginia find them, arrest them, and send them home. That has all changed. Thank God. By the way, Patel also announced they've arrested 3 of the top 10 most wanted people on their top 10 most wanted list. You know how many got arrested? In 4 years under Joe Biden? 0. They made no effort to track down, arrest, prosecute the 10 most wanted people in the country, including guys like this MS-13 character who I assume's got tattoos all over his face and guns and drugs and contacts and connections to his fellow gang members around the country. Well, he has been snatched up. Nobody was hurt in the operation. They had kids in the house. The kids are safe. The gang member is in custody and hopefully on his way home to El Salvador as we speak. Another W for the Trump administration, another W for the American people. Again, other than elected Democrats, who's against this? Who doesn't want to see this? Who wants MS-13 in their community? Anybody? Raise a hand. Anybody? Anybody upset about this? I mean, we haven't heard from Jasmine Crockett or Liz Warren or Ayanna Pressley yet. Maybe they'll tell you that this was inhumane and cruel, that the poor fellow was just trying to make a good life for himself and his family in the United States. But we will see. We will not hear from them today because they will not talk about anything other than the Signal chat that included a Trump-hating scumbag sleazeball reporter from Atlantic Magazine. And I have to ask once again, I mean, I guess I'll talk about this for one more day. I don't understand one thing. I genuinely don't get it. Every Democrat, I mean every Democrat, every talking head on MSNBC and CNN, everyone in the New York Times is demanding Pete Hegseth's head on a platter. They want him fired. Can someone tell me why? What did he do? I understand if you want Mike Walls fired. I heard Dave Portnoy do a long rant and said Walls' head should roll. I understand that. If Walls screwed up and put Goldberg on the chat, and they know that, they know if that's the case, they know. They haven't told us, but they know. I'm going to assume it wasn't Walls. I'm going to assume it was an underling. I'm going to assume that they made an innocent mistake. Why would you fire Pete Hegseth? Why? Because I genuinely don't understand it. What did he do? He conducted business. He did what he was supposed to do on the platform, on the app he was supposed to use. The operation was a success. And again, the same people calling for Pete Hegseth's head had no problem with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, where Lloyd Austin and Mark Milley and Joe Biden got 13 service members murdered and 50 injured and 150 civilians killed. The same people then responded by sending a drone and killing a family of 10, including 7 children, in Kabul a couple days later. Nobody resigned. Nobody was fired. Nobody was demoted. Nobody was held accountable. And I don't think a single talking head in the mainstream media demanded firings. I don't remember. I don't think Lloyd Austin just went about his business. Nobody paid a price for getting people killed. Nobody died except Houthis in this case. And they want him fired? Why? Other than politics, why? What's the explanation? Well, he's not going to get fired. In fact, Trump said this yesterday. Pete is doing a great job. He said the operation was unbelievably successful. The shipping lanes are open. We did what Biden refused to do. Again, there were 174 attacks on American military vessels. There were 145 attacks on American commercial attacks by the Houthis. And what did Joe Biden do? He removed the terrorist designation from that organization for some reason. Nobody quite understands why. And allowed them to attack our ships. Well, that all ended the other day with this operation. And the response from Democrats and from the media is fire the guy who led the effort to eliminate this nuisance, to eliminate Muslim terrorists who were shooting at our ships, taking down our drones. We got rid of them or incapacitated them for the moment. and you want to fire the guy? He didn't invite Jeffrey Goldberg on the chat. He didn't do anything illegal, inappropriate. As he explained, this wasn't classified. These weren't war plans. He didn't know there was a reporter on the chat because he didn't invite him. So again, why should he be fired? Hegseth is so good at this. Every member of Trump's cabinet, I like them all so far. We'll see about Mike Walls once the investigation is over. We'll see about Walls. If he indeed invited Goldberg, then I got a problem with that. But I don't think he did. We'll get back to that. But Hegseth was in Hawaii working out with the troops. That's what he does. He gets up early, does PT with the troops. He just looks the part, and he's so good at this. Again, all the cabinet members, all Trump's team, they're fighters, they're smart, they're tireless. Again, Patel and Bondi were there at the crack of dawn in Virginia for this arrest, and they went before the cameras and explained it. They're so transparent. They're so out front and available. Here's Hegseth yesterday explaining why this whole ridiculous, made-up scandal is such a joke. Go ahead.
Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know who sees war plans? I see them every single day. I looked at them this morning. I looked at attack plans this morning. You know who does attack plans and war plans? Men like that admiral right there, Paparo, for the Indo-Pacific, or Eric Kurilla, our general in CENTCOM. They do attack plans and war plans. And thank God we have those leaders who do it and do it well, and our enemies know it. My job, as it said at top of that, everybody's seen it now, team update is to provide updates in real time. General updates in real time, keep everybody informed. That's what I did. That's my job. The war fighters will take the fight to the enemy, and I love what they do. And with President Trump's leadership, our enemies are on notice. We will have peace through strength, and we'll keep putting our troops first.
This guy is doing he's perfect for the job. This is what a Secretary of Defense should look like. It shouldn't be some obese old man like Lloyd Austin with 3 masks kind of waddling around the tarmac. This guy's got the energy, the drive to do this job, and he's obviously on the same page with Donald Trump. There's no way he's being fired or resigning or anything. It's absurd. But that's how desperate the Democrats, they've taken a beating for 2 months now. Every day, Trump's moving forward, getting things done, posting W's, and they're so desperate that they're going to go real low. Yesterday, obviously, Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe were back before the Senate committee and taking questions, and they were all about Signal chat. By the way, again, Signal was installed on their devices. Signal was used by the Biden administration. The Atlantic magazine praised Signal for its security. Trump yesterday had a really weird take on this. He said maybe Signal is defective. What? Signal isn't the problem. Inviting Goldberg on the chat is the problem, the only problem. That's not Signal's fault. That's somebody either incompetent or devious in the group who invited a reporter on. That's all. What's it got to do with Signal? Doesn't matter what app you use if you invite someone on who's not supposed to be there. But Trump gave his full endorsement, of course, to Hegseth, as well he should. Democrats, on the other hand, I guess felt like they could still get some mileage out of this, that they still could damage Hegseth and Trump with their effort. And they went low, man. They went low. Congressman Seth Moulton, who is just a coward, who really is, to review, it was a couple months ago after the election that Seth Moulton came out tepidly against boys and girls sports and said, didn't want to see his daughters get run over in sports. Perfectly reasonable. I'd say about 95% of the public agrees with that, but not today's Democrat Party. They immediately came after Moulton. The mayor of his home city demanded his resignation because he didn't want boys to hurt his daughters in sports. It was, I guess, a show of courage briefly, but man, they knocked him back down, and now he's a good little foot soldier who's never going to step out of line again. He is now making an effort to reclaim his whack job, woke credentials, and he says maybe Hegseth was drunk. Yes, drunk. Why? What on that text chain gave you the impression he was drunk? Sounded completely in control to me. Looked completely on top of the whole situation. But it doesn't matter. This is their only issue they've got to grab a hold on and run with in 2 months, and they're going to go with it, man. Listen to this absolute pathetic squish.
Accountability is back. Accountability is back. I quote Secretary Pete Hegseth. That was our Secretary of Defense on the record just a couple of months ago. Now the debate among national security professionals is over whether the Secretary was just incompetent or whether he was drunk. That's how low this has gone. And those are serious debates.
He's right. That's how low this has gone. Follow-up question. What did he do that makes you think he was incompetent or drunk? What? What text in that change? What order? What update did he give that makes you think he was drunk? You are pathetic. Seth Moulton doesn't believe this for a second. He's surrounded by these lunatic, fringe, desperate Democrats. And he's saying, I gotta get back in with the crowd here. I got to get back in line. So I'm going to accuse the Secretary of Defense of being drunk. The last secretary went missing for 5 days. No one knew where he was when he was getting surgery. No, he didn't tell anybody. Did Seth Moulton call him incompetent? Did he ask if he was drunk? Of course not. They oversaw just the absolute debacle in Afghanistan. Did we ask if Mark Milley or Austin were drunk? He supported a president who was senile, who was not in control, who was not capable of the duties of commander-in-chief. Never said a word, never questioned him at all. This guy is so just overcome, just with Trump Hegseth derangement syndrome that he can't see straight. He is, hey, are boys still running over your girls in sports, Seth? Are they still knocking your girls around? Have you complained about that lately? Or did you get in line like a good little toady that you are? You are just an embarrassment. You really are. All right. Before we move on, we got to get to Doug Collins. This is my favorite moment yesterday. And there's nothing better, nothing I'm enjoying more than watching Trump's guys, his cabinet members, his people, Tom Homan, Hegseth, you name it, just eviscerate the fake news frauds. And yesterday was a good day for this because, again, they will not let it go. That's all they want to do. Talk about Hegseth should get fired. Talk about Walls. They're incompetent. We've never seen anything like this. They claim we've never seen. I heard this from half a dozen Democrats and me. Never seen a intelligence failure like this. Have they forgotten 9/11? 9/11. This is the worst intelligence failure they've ever seen. We lost 3,000 Americans on 9/11. That was an intelligence failure. I don't think this is quite to that level. Nobody died. Nobody got hurt except Houthis. Here's VA Secretary Doug Collins, who apparently, before this clip we play, he answered question after question about Signalgate, about the scandal. And he was ready to move on and talk about Veterans Affairs. He's the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And Caitlin Collins, who is just the manly face of fake news these days. There was a great moment, by the way, in the briefing yesterday when she tried to ask a follow-up, and Caroline Levitt said, "I'm not taking your follow-up, Caitlin. Sorry, we're moving on." Just slapped her down. Again, Caroline Levitt is doing a great job at putting these people in their place, and so are the cabinet secretaries. Doug Collins put on a clinic yesterday. Watch this.
Do you believe that a mistake was made here, though, to have this conversation, to add a reporter, and to have it on an unsupported, classified group setting?
Caitlin, as I've just told you, I've just answered the question. I wasn't part of it. And, I'm not going to speculate more than what the president's already talked about and those who've been involved have talked about. But we'd love to talk about the veterans.
Yeah, and I do have questions about the veterans, but given what we saw with the group chat and how this was used, you are a member of the cabinet. You obviously know these other members, several of them who were in there. Is this typical for the cabinet to have conversations over Signal? Is this something that you use?
Well, Caitlin, since you undoubtedly do not want to talk about the VA, I have a question as VA Secretary. As Cabinet, I want to ask you, because I've been curious about this, because my job is to take care of veterans. And I would like to know why CNN is hostile to veterans, especially one in Florida, where you just had a $5 million defamation suit taking offense at a veteran who was trying to help people. In fact, one of your employees actually said, "We're going to nail him." I have a question for you, Caitlin. Is that employee still employed? Are you really concerned about veterans? So if we don't want to talk about veterans now, you want to talk about everything else, I'd like to hear from CNN as the veteran cabinet secretary, why CNN seems to have a problem with veterans.
Well, Mr. Secretary, respectfully, my question was about whether or not you as a member of the cabinet use this. And respectfully, I'm conducting the investigation. And I do have a lot of questions for you on Veterans Affairs, but I don't think it would be unwarranted to ask
what you want to do is talk about a subject I've already answered. And if you want to continue this like this, that's fine. But there are VA employees who are working very hard. There are veterans who get their care from the VA and they get their benefits from the VA. And it does me no good to speculate on something that I've already asked and answered. So I've asked and answered your question. Why don't you answer mine? Is this person still employed who said they were going to nail one of my veterans, who you had to do a $5 million award from a jury because of defamation, and then you settled the case? Answer my question.
Respectfully, sir, I'm asking the questions here, and I have no involvement in referencing there. But if you don't want to answer the question about whether or not...
I am right now. That is how it's done. That is the way right there. And that's just your VA secretary. They're all like this. They're all pushing back. They all know what CNN and MSNBC, what they're up to, what they're trying to do, and they're having none of it. God, I can't tell you how much I enjoy this. I've been waiting for this for years. Do not play their game. Do not accept their narrative. Push back, put them in their place, embarrass them. Bravo, Doug Collins. That was not my favorite moment from yesterday. Not even close. It was great. Don't get me wrong. It was spectacular, but it got even better when NPR and PBS, their CEOs, who are just the ultimate classic awfuls, affluent, white, female liberals, and they went before the House DOGE committee, and it was great. There was just a couple of great moments. And again, I have to ask, why are we still doing this? When are we going to stop funding this? Why are we giving them another nickel? Let's end this. Defund these people now. DOGE is doing great work, God's work. Why are we even hesitating? Defund this. We will get to this just glorious hearing in front of the DOGE committee. That was just, we don't even have time. I recommend you go watch the whole hearing because it was just great. We'll get to that. And we have an update on Jim the Keyer. Jim, the guy who keyed a Tesla, keyed a Cybertruck up in New Hampshire. It went viral. Jim is, he's kind of still waiting to see what happens here, but we'll tell you the latest on Jim the Keyer. We'll get to that and lots more. But first,
Excuse me.
Armslist.com is America's firearms marketplace, unwavering in their belief of the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Armslist.com has been in the fight for our Second Amendment rights, battling the Brady campaign and their cronies since their initial assault in 2013, emerging victorious. Armslist.com is not only at the forefront of the fight for your rights, it's your go-to platform to buy, sell, and trade firearms, ammo, optics, and more locally, or tap into their nationwide network of firearms dealers. For a limited time, Armslist is extending an exclusive discount to Newsmax listeners. Head to armslist.com/Newsmax and use coupon code Newsmax to get your first month of premium membership for just 99 cents. Join the fight and come and get what they want to take right now at armslist.com/Newsmax.
All right, a reminder to pick up your Callahan coffee. It's simple. And by the way, I heard lots of reviews over the weekend. I told you I saw a lot of people, and they all tell me how good the Callahan coffee is. Proudly roasted to order in Waltham, Mass. We ensured that you're getting the freshest and highest quality coffee beans possible, delivered right to your door. Try it. Check it out. Just go to CallahanCoffee.com or click the link in our social media bio to order now.
One last thought. There's a few on Signalgate. There's a few people working on this. Laura Loomer, who's crazy, but she's a good investigative reporter. There's a few others. I think we're going to get to the bottom of it. And there's one of two things that can happen. One is going to be explosive. It's going to be wild. The other one, not so much. Did an underling, did a staff member of Mike Waltz just make a mistake? Just have JG, Jeffrey Goldberg, in his phone and thought it was a different JG. That's one theory. Maybe that's it. Probably that's it. And we move on. The other is that there's a deep state snake, a bad actor in the midst, on Waltz's staff. Laura Loomer has a couple of theories. One guy, Alex Wong, he's got all kinds of connections to the deep state. He's not a fan of Trump. He was in the chat. Was it him? We don't know. We'll find out. Reporters are working on it. Musk is working on it. That would be wild if we find out someone intentionally sabotaged this chat in an attempt to hurt Trump and maybe get U.S. troops killed, but it didn't happen. But we'll find out. It's going to come out one way or the other. Again, this kind of thing was covered up under Biden. It's not going to be covered up under Trump. We'll find out. All right, we got to move on to this hearing yesterday in front of the House Oversight DOGE Committee. Yes, we have a committee working with DOGE to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. And I don't even know why we need this hearing. We've been hearing this, seeing this for 40 years. Why? Someone explain it to me. Why should American taxpayers fund PBS and NPR National Panhandler Radio? Why? The theory 40, 50 years ago was there weren't enough options. We needed kids programming. People in rural areas didn't have enough options for radio or TV. That's changed. That's no longer the case. There are a million options. You got too many options. You got all kinds of channels, all kinds of networks. You have satellites and podcasts and everything else. It doesn't fly anymore. So you can't use that. Then they say, oh, it's not a big deal. It's only 1% of our funding. Good. So you shouldn't have a problem eliminating 1%. Next year, American taxpayers, if this isn't defunded, are on the hook for more than $500 million to subsidize the most far-left radical outfit in the media. They are to the left of CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CNN. They are to the left. They are nothing but radical leftist. And it's all these elitist white liberals. That's all they are. They don't even pretend they're anything else until they are forced to come before Congress, raise their hand, and testify. That's the only time they even pretend to be anything other than a far left propaganda network. But it just isn't working. They just can't. We just can't do this anymore. We can't give them our money to do what they do. And by the way, they live like royalty. They get paid huge sums of money. We've gone over this before. In Boston, we have this palatial studio. When I was on the radio, our studios were next door, and we would look over at them, and they would have the most amazing studios with monitors and all kinds of technology and beautiful, lounges, and all funded by taxpayers. Taxpayers paying for this. They don't have ratings. They don't have viewers. But man, they got money to spend. That has to end. This is as big a waste as drag shows in Ecuador or condoms in Gaza. It's the same thing. It's just wasted money, which is not really just poor financial management. It's theft. It's theft by left-wingers, well-connected Democrats who are stealing from taxpayers. That's all it is. So the CEO of NPR and the CEO of PBS go before Congress, and Democrats just embarrassed themselves. They held up pictures of Bert and Ernie and asked if they were gay, and pictures of Elmo, and is Elmo a communist? And they have no answer. There is no argument to continue to fund these clowns. And I could do 3 hours on this. It was so good. There were so many highlights. Catherine Mayer is the far left, and we've talked about her before, far left CEO of NPR. And she's the one, she used to be at Wikipedia. She's just this radical leftist who's everywhere. She's the one that spoke out against free speech, said it was an obstacle to advancing their agenda. That's who she is. And she goes, and she has a long track record, a lot of receipts. She goes before Congress. Get the Tim Burchett first. Tim Burchett, who's great. He is like one of my favorites. He's from Tennessee. He's the one with the barn jacket on all the time. And he's funny and he's good. And he gets her under oath and just starts reading her texts, her tweets. That's what a lot of the Republicans did. They read her tweets. They read her work, her writing. She's like a total left-wing Trump-hating lunatic who went before Congress and said, there's no bias at NPR and PBS. No bias. I'm sorry, that doesn't fly. Why are we funding this woman? Why are we funding this operation? It's got to end. It's got to end. Here's the great Tim Burchett with Catherine Mayer.
Failed to do that. Let me ask you, why did you call President Trump a fascist and a deranged racist sociopath in 2020?
Congressman, I appreciate the opportunity to address this. I regret those tweets. I would not tweet them again today. They represented a time where I was reflecting on something that I believe that the president had said rather than who he is. I don't presume that anyone is a racist.
Which you don't believe anyone is a racist?
I don't start by presuming anyone is a racist, sir.
Okay. Has NPR or PBS ever conducted an internal review to assess whether conservative or right-leaning perspectives are fairly representative news and programming?
Congressman, what we look at is the distribution of people who listen to our work. And we can tell you, and I'm proud to tell you that for our digital, our podcasts and our website, the distribution of Americans who come to NPR does reflect the political distribution of the nation. In fact, the distribution on our websites, 33% of folks who come are conservative versus 28% who are liberal, and the rest identify as independent. So the largest group is conservatives who come to NPR's websites.
So you believe that most Americans think President Trump is a fascist and a deranged racist sociopath?
I don't believe that at all, sir.
Okay.
It gets better. It gets better. There's a young congressman named Brandon Gill, new guy, and he is going to be a star. I love a lot of the young Republicans, hell, the old Republicans in these hearings. Obviously, Ted Cruz is great, John Kennedy, Josh Hawley, Tim Burchett. A lot of these guys are really good at this. But this new guy, Brandon Gill, put on a masterclass with this woman, with this caricature, Catherine Mayer, who looks like she was made in a lab. Could we come up with just the most unctuous, smarmy, elitist, liberal? And she's calling the shots. By the way, they pointed out that there was a survey done at the NPR in Washington. 87 employees, 87 Democrats, 0 Republicans. And she said, oh, we don't ask them their political affiliation. No, we just hired Democrats. They pointed out that during Russiagate, they interviewed Adam Schiff 25 times. During the Biden scandals, they interviewed Jamie Comer, who has all the receipts on the Biden scandals, 0 times. They posted that they wouldn't cover the Hunter Biden laptop story because it's not a real story. It's a distraction. They are the worst of the worst. And the amazing thing is they're supposed to be like providing balance, getting programming that you can't get anywhere else. You can get that anywhere else. If they were far right and not far left, by the way, they used the term far left hundreds of times last year. Far right, 200 times. They used the term far left 6. So there's all kinds of documented proof of their bias, but they deny it under oath. It was an amazing thing to watch. But this young guy, Brandon Gill, just took her apart. It's a little long. I'd love to play the whole thing. He gets 5 minutes. We'll play like 2 minutes of it, but it was so good. Just caught her in lie after lie. She is the most obnoxious wokester you have ever seen. And she has a long history, and he just goes through it, and she has no answers. Watch this.
Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half decade.
It has
evolved.
Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
Apologies, I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't. You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. How white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I have never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North. Yes, all of us. Yes, America. Yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt. Yes, reparations. Yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone.
Seems to be what you're suggesting. Sir. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe it's morally wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
illegal. You tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my time.
You tweeted that you read that book, but
I don't think I did read that.
Yeah, this was so good. Oh, he's so good. He's going to be great. She took a day off to read the book. She tweeted she took a day off to read it and then said under oath she didn't read it. Can we not just defund NPR? Can we indict her for perjury? I'm not asking for too much. She obviously committed perjury right there. Why not? Let's continue. Let's stay on offense here. Let's indict this this horrible woman. Today, people are doing their taxes. For the next few weeks, they've been doing their taxes and they're looking at their numbers and they're saying, holy crap, I'm sending 20, 25, 30% of my money that I earned to the government. Some of it's going to her. Some of it's going to these horrible people at NPR and PBS. And again, I get triggered when I see Republicans tweet or say that we should, we can defund NPR. Enough of that. Just do it, for Christ's sake. I'm so tired of this. Again, I've been hearing it for my whole life. Stop sending our money to these people. It makes no sense. It's just as bad as all the other waste DOGE is uncovering. That has to happen. I'm looking forward to the day. Make it today. They control the House. They control the Senate. The president said yesterday, yes, I would love to see us defund NPR and PBS. What are you waiting for? America demands it. They said it's only 1%, so they'll continue. They can sell ads. They can do business in the marketplace like every other network. Why do we have to give them a nickel? It never made any sense to me, and it makes less sense now than I heard from that awful woman. But that was yesterday was a great day. Donald Trump celebrated Women's History Month again, and had actual women, not Rachel Levine. Didn't have some guy with fake boobs flashing in the Rose Garden. He had actual women there to celebrate, and he spoke about it. And this, to me, was just an incredible moment. The president talking about the two sexes. That's all, men, women. That's it. And I think back, whatever, 20, 50, 100 years ago, you ever imagine you'd see a day where the president would have to point out that we only have two sexes? This is how far down the road to insanity the modern Democrat Party has taken us, that it takes the president, the commander-in-chief, to point out that there's just men and women, just boys and girls, all that other nonsense that's just made up, and we're moving on from that. And he delivers kind of some heartbreaking news to all the the Rachel Levines and the Sam Brittons and the Dylan Mulvaney's. You can put on all the makeup you want. You can grow your hair out. You can wear a dress. It doesn't make you a woman. This was understated, but this was a great moment. Listen.
They're fighting for a 2% issue. That's good. Let them keep doing it. No matter how many surgeries you have or chemicals you inject, if you're born with male DNA in every cell of your body, you can never become a woman. You're not going to be a woman.
We needed the president to remind us of that. And, 5 months ago, we had a president, sorta, who told you could do that. You could get surgery and inject things, and you could magically become a woman. We're through with that. That's just this little blip in the 50,000 year history of mankind. We had a little blip, 5-10 years, where we played along with this charade, where we indulged the fantasies of unstable people and said, you want to change your sex? Go ahead. Just get some drugs, get surgery, and then you can become a woman and we'll celebrate you. As Biden said, we'll have your back. Well, those days are over. We're moving on. We're not playing along anymore. And it was great to hear the president kind of confirm that. There was one other hilarious moment in Trump's daily briefing. Feels like daily. Just sat there for 45 minutes, took all questions casually. Trump, by the way, is really comfortable in his second term. He doesn't appear jittery at all, nervous or apprehensive. He's just relaxed and being himself. He knows he's never facing the voters again. He knows that the fake news and Caitlin Collins and Peter Alexander can't touch him. He knows he's not going to get indicted. He knows he's not going to have the FBI raiding his home anymore. Those days are over, and he's really comfortable, and it's good to see. But takes a question, and he just notes something about the person asking the question, which, by the way, it's a pretty clear indication that it's a hostile reporter who doesn't like him. But listen to this.
You know, I haven't seen a mask in so long. You're wearing a mask. So nice of you. I haven't seen anybody wearing a mask in a long time. It's good. You feel more comfortable, right? Good. That's good.
Well, I guess he has been kind of sheltered because I've seen lots of masks, and every one of them is an indication that that person is either, an angry liberal who's trying to virtue signal or mentally unstable. But they're out there, man. Wait till the day of, what's it called? The day of action, the takedown, Tesla takedown day, which is 2 days from now, Saturday. Every one of these lunatics will be wearing a mask. So let's get to our update on the efforts to take down Tesla. We got an update on let me get to my tweet. I tweeted about the New Hampshire guy who keyed a Cybertruck up at Mount Washington. We're still waiting to see his fate, but my God, talk about going viral. Let me give you an update, Ironhead. We are now at 11 million views.
That it?
140,000 likes and a reply, and let's see, 7,500 replies, including one from Elon Musk, from Jim Pellis, the regional sales director of a cybersecurity company who keyed a Tesla, got caught, lied to the police, told them it wasn't him. He has not been arrested yet. We're still waiting to see if he will be. Obviously, they have it on video. Obviously, he committed a crime. Obviously, he's been outed and everybody knows it, but it ain't stopping. It's just amazing that we see these videos. We know that it's really not worth it, to damage a Tesla. There was one, by the way, where the guy did some real damage. He scratched, he banged on this red Tesla. A woman was in Olive Garden, the Tesla driver. She comes out of Olive Garden. She's in a wheelchair. It was a specially adapted Tesla for the woman in the wheelchair. And the scumbag vandalized her car because what? He's mad at Musk. So he damages some poor disabled woman's car. He's going to get tried. He's going to get prosecuted. And what's he going to say? Yeah. Musk, he eliminated, a $600,000 program for transgender farmers. I had to do it. This could be my favorite yet, though. You got the big fat guy, big bone guy on an ATV who has kind of decided he hates Musk. So he's going to ram. Look at this. What'd you say? This guy checks in at $4 bills.
Oh, he's at minimum 450.
450. He's on a four-wheel ATV and he's just ramming it into Teslas. Obviously, he's a moron and a psycho. And he's apparently done this like 3 or 4 times. He's on video because they got cameras, but he doesn't care. He's going to go to court. He's going to be tried. What's he going to say? I had to do it because Musk is a bad guy? Because the TV told me Musk was a Nazi. I understand when it happened initially, I guess. There's enough psychos and idiots. Why does it keep happening? Why do you think you're going to get away with this? The guy in New Hampshire, his life has been turned upside down. We don't know yet if he's been fired. We don't know if he's going to go to jail. Maybe he'll just pay restitution. But everybody knows he's a 55-year-old man who thought it was a good idea to key somebody's car because he's mad at Musk. Well, it ain't stopping because Saturday, as Jasmine Crockett did, they're going to take down Tesla Saturday at 500 locations around the country. If they indeed are well organized and well funded, and we believe they are, this is going to get ugly. And we can just hope that Pam Bondi follows through with a promise to prosecute all of them. And here's the latest from DOGE. And this is why they're driving their ATVs into Teslas. You think this? Honestly, I'm still trying to get my mind around it. You're so mad at Musk that you're smashing, you're trashing Teslas. What has he done? Here's what DOGE did yesterday: eliminated $10 million for gender equity in the Mexican workplace, $12 million for worker empowerment in South America, 6.25 for improving respect for workers' rights in agricultural supply chains in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador, $5 million for elevating women's participation in the workplace in West Africa, $4.3 million for assisting foreign migrant workers in Malaysia, $3 million to, quote, enhance Social Security access and worker protections for internal migrant workers in Bangladesh. And my favorite, the last one, can you scroll up? I want to see $3 million for, quote, safe and inclusive work environments in Lesotho. Lesotho. I honestly didn't know what that was. I had to look it up. It's a country in southern Africa, kind of in central southern Africa. And we're sending money, taxpayer money, to advance inclusive workplaces in Lesotho. That's what he's doing while you're driving your ATV into a Tesla, while you're keying Teslas. Again, if you were upset about something that mattered, upset about war or upset about abortion, something that I could understand, that'd be one thing. It'd be bad, it'd be wrong, it'd be criminal. But you're upset that we're not sending millions to Malaysia for workplace diversity. So you're committing crimes. You have lost your minds, all right? You need to look in the mirror. You have lost it. You have just come unglued. And what Musk is doing, we should all applaud. We should all salute. We should celebrate. Well, we'll be back on this because they're going out in full force in 2 days. Jasmine Crockett's birthday. Oh, can we do Jasmine before we go? We should do a daily Jasmine update. She is on this committee that was questioning the PBS and the NPR ladies. She's on the committee, which is good. We want her on all committees. We want her on camera. She's the leader of the Democrat Party. She must be out front. She must be featured daily. She's the next Democrat nominee for president. We're hoping, we're praying. Here she is defending the waste and fraud that we just outlined at these public broadcasting companies. Go ahead.
About emergency management, and they don't care about free speech, all of which are harming American people. In fact, I'm gonna skip off real quick because they have tried to come for you, Ms. Mayor, and I just want to clarify, you did not work for NPR when those statements were made, did you?
That is correct, Madam.
And to be clear, free speech is not about whatever it is that y'all want somebody to say. And the idea that you want to shut down everybody that is not Fox News is bullshit. We need to stop playing because that's what y'all are doing in here. You don't want to hear the opinions of anybody else. And the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the
gentlewoman's time has expired.
Press.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
We need her. We want her. Keep going, Jasmine. That's her defense. No one's saying anything about free speech. It hasn't even come up. We just don't have to pay for it. That's all, lady. We just don't want to pay for it. But that is your leading voice in the Democrat Party, and bad news for Democrats. She ain't going away. But that will do it for us today. What a day. What another great day. We're having fun. We're having a good time. Can't wait for Takedown Tesla Day Saturday. I might have to go counter-protest in Boston at the Tesla dealership.
Just go buy one. Them all.
And I would like to. I really would. I'm thinking about it. I said I would never get an electric car. All the technology scares me a little bit, but they're beautiful cars, and I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking seriously about it. We must support Elon Musk, a great American. But Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thank you.